A cartoonist was taking a swing on the golf course, met an eerily sudden death on the green. Her best friend, too, after attending the funeral, met a bizarre end on the way home, struck by a falling object. Was this all man-made or just fate's cruel design? Today we present that legendary 90s time travel series that had people scouring the entire film for one iconic scene. The iconic work Memories of the Future, initially drawn in by the breathtaking beauty of two Showa-era icons, and the real-life inspiration behind Doraemon's creator. But on rewatching, I realized something. The creator had already woven deep truths into the story, woven into the narrative. The story follows manga artist Kinko and homemaker Inzi, bosom buddies who tell each other everything. Oddly enough, back on that day in 1991, following the deaths of Jinzi and Inzi, Jinzi inexplicably found herself awake in her home study once more. It was exactly like that one particular morning a decade earlier. Jinzi hastily accepted today's newspaper from the mail carrier through the door's gap. Little did she know what today's paper would reveal. It was truly jaw-dropping at first sight. To everyone's surprise, Jinzi had traveled back to May 1981. That day held special significance for her, a pivotal day that shaped her entire artistic journey. On that fateful day, Jinzi had been riding the subway when an accident struck, leaving her terribly delayed. By the time she finally made it to the newspaper office, the editor was already there. They had already agreed to serialize her work before she arrived. The works of manga artist Ah Seong. This catapulted Ah Seong to fame in the manga industry, gaining a massive fan following. A renowned and beautiful female manga artist. To atone for her mistake a decade earlier, Jinzi opted to take a taxi to hurry to the newspaper office. At last, I beat Ah Seong to it. Presented my work to the newspaper's chief editor. Just as expected, the chief editor approved Jinzi's manga draft for serial publication. Jinzi was so astonished she was at a loss for words. It wasn't until she was leaving the office that she spotted Ah Seong hurrying in. She believed this would surely transform her destiny and career trajectory. Little did she know, moments later the chief editor urgently called her back. With genuine remorse, he retracted his earlier promise to serialize her work. Nothing cuts deeper than raising hopes only to dash them. The setback left Jinzi questioning both her competence and her initial aspirations. In her despair, she immediately reached out to her closest confidant, longing for even the slightest solace. To her surprise, a male voice responded. It was Inzi's husband from a previous incarnation. But now the man on the other end claims to be single. There never was any wife to begin with. So where exactly did Inzi go? Jinzi, with her career in shambles, drew upon her decade-long memories from a past life, created numerous comics in artistic styles that weren't to her taste. These were all manga works that took Japan by storm from the 1980s through the early 90s. Soon after, Jinzi began copying other artists' works from memory, and rose to fame as a renowned manga artist in Japan. The sudden influx of fame, wealth, and status caused her to lose herself completely. She had transformed from an obscure nobody to a celebrated artist. Her appearance and professional standing had undergone significant improvement. Just when things were going well, she received an anonymous letter. The anonymous sender claimed to possess damning evidence of all her artistic plagiarism, so he extorted a hefty sum as hush money from her. That evening, Jinzi arrived with a briefcase in hand. She showed up at the agreed-upon location right on time. Little did she know the person extorting her turned out to be her BFF Inzi, who died the very same day. Though in truth, Inzi never meant to extort her. She was actually suggesting they pool this startup capital and cash in big on their future memories. Live a completely different high society life than before. On the very day they returned to the past, Inzi's destiny was taking a different turn. In the original timeline's 1981, Inzi had met her Mr. Right Daxiang at a mixer, but another girl had beaten her to the punch. Inzi had no choice but to accept Glasses Guy's offer to escort her home. Soon after, Inzi tied the knot with this apparently kind and simple-minded Glasses Guy. But shortly after the wedding, Glasses Guy showed his true nature. He bossed Inzi around, now a full-time homemaker. Inzi said that even though she was now married, she still wanted to pursue some personal hobbies. Glasses Guy snapped back coldly, "What's the point of hobbies now?" All she needed to do was stay home obediently. Under his overwhelming need for control, Inzi was stripped of her individuality and passions. She endured a daily married life of silent suffering. So when Inzi got a second chance in this new life, at that mixer, she made the first move. and scored a date with her crush, Daxiang. Having endured a disastrous marriage in her past life, she was too afraid to consider marrying Daxiang again. She could only focus on earning money, relentlessly building up her financial wealth. Before long, leveraging their past life memories, Jinzi published multiple hit manga series. Inzi also rose to fame as a top investment specialist in the field. In her past life, Inzi's husband, nicknamed Glasses, had been reduced to just another obedient subordinate in Inzi's ranks. He became completely subservient to Inzi, hanging on her every word. At first, Inzi relished this sweet taste of revenge, but soon another issue emerged. As Inzi became single-mindedly focused on her business success, she frequently neglected her present-life boyfriend Daxiang, led to the growing estrangement between them. Inzi came to realize that no matter how much money she made, without love and emotional fulfillment, her life remained empty and devoid of meaning. Meanwhile, in this lifetime, Jinzi had also met her soulmate. He was Xiao Fu, a professional performer of traditional Japanese arts. However, Jinzi was preoccupied with copying others' creative works, the comic works of other creators. Driven by fame and fortune, he ultimately rejected the chance to maintain his relationship with Xiaofu. The truth will always come to light. When Jinzi was caught plagiarizing yet again, and receiving awards for it, he faced backlash from the original creators he had stolen from. These individuals unanimously stated these were clearly their own freshly conceived creations, or works they were already in the midst of creating, were inexplicably claimed by Jinzi as his own original works, and published before they could. These accusations sent Jinzi into another cardiac episode, truly stealing others' creative ideas and works. Despite having attained the fame and fortune she craved, she still felt an insecure emptiness within. Meanwhile, Xiaofu, whom she had turned down, had chosen to pursue advanced studies in France. All this filled Jinzi with profound remorse. She thought if reincarnation truly existed, she would stay true to herself and focus on her craft. Stop living in this melancholic void. No more days filled with anxiety and dread. Inzi realized that all the riches in the world could never fill the emptiness in her soul. They vowed that in their next lifetime, they would cherish those who truly love them. And so the year 1991 arrived in this incarnation. On the fateful day of their passing, true to form, Jinzi suffered yet another sudden demise. On the golf course. That same night, Inzi too, having just attended a funeral, met her end once more on the way home, struck by a falling object. Thus in this lifetime of theirs, they departed this world still filled with regret and unresolved yearnings. The clock has turned back to 1981 once more. Both individuals have come back to life anew, gazing upon their newly reborn forms and each other once more. Overcome with emotion, the pair fell into each other's arms. In this new life, Jinzi was burning with impatience to seek out Xiaofu, her former beloved. Though in this timeline, Xiaofu had no memory of her, yet the wheels of romance were already in motion. Xiaofu couldn't shake the feeling he'd met her somewhere in the past. Jinzi was deeply touched by Xiaofu's acceptance, Jinzi's courageous declaration of love. Inzi tapped into those past memories once more. After making a killing in profits, devoted herself completely to supporting Daxiang's fashion design venture. Witnessing Daxiang's prolonged period of frustration and low spirits, Inzi made up her mind to financially support Daxiang by organizing a grand fashion exhibition. This breakthrough finally earned Daxiang the recognition he deserved in the fashion world. His schedule grew increasingly hectic as his fame spread, bolstered by her boyfriend Xiaofu's unwavering support. Jinzi persisted in crafting pieces that were uniquely her own, even though others might view these works as childish. Xiaofu gave her encouragement. Adults' inner worlds are just like children's. Both preserve a sense of childlike wonder. Thus, Jinzi started working with renewed passion, putting her heart and soul into her creations, and ultimately won the approval of the publishing house's editor-in-chief. The editor-in-chief wants to run this comic as a serial. When Jinzi heard the news, couldn't believe what she was hearing, was overwhelmed with joy to the point of tears. From that moment, Jinzi became a true best-selling comic artist. Daxiang, always preoccupied with work, coming home completely exhausted, just like the glasses-wearing guy from the first lifetime, lost his temper at Inzi. Before, Inzi had always put up with it. But this time around, Inzi courageously spoke her mind, voicing her grievances to her partner. To everyone's surprise, Daxiang immediately understood. I failed to show sufficient care for my partner, made a promise to Inzi that this would never happen again. bossed Inzi around arbitrarily. Inzi and Daxiang managed to juggle their individual careers, while also working together to nurture their relationship. Meanwhile, Jinzi found love as well. Along with a career she worked hard to build, accepted Xiaofu's marriage proposal. Until one day when Xiaofu, who had been performing overseas, unexpectedly called and left a message for Jinzi, saying he was coming back home and wanted to celebrate Christmas with Jinzi, but drawing from her past life memories. Jinzi remembered all too clearly. This flight is going to crash. In a panic, Jinzi and Inzi rushed to Tokyo airport. Naturally, the staff didn't believe Jinzi's wild claims. As a result, the plane wasn't diverted or grounded, so the pair remained in the airport terminal, quietly awaiting word of the plane crash. Meanwhile, Inzi, who was slightly more clear-headed, had a sudden realization about their destiny in this lifetime was entirely different from their previous lives. Take Jinzi for instance, she made it as a manga artist through her own talent and hard work, while Inzi achieved financial success, regained the warmth of family life. These were all things they could only dream of before. Maybe in this lifetime, their fortunes might really change. After Inzi's persistent convincing, with unwavering faith, Jinzi and Inzi finally welcomed Xiaofu's safe homecoming. The story then returned to 1991, on that fateful day when both were facing their final moments. Yet fate had orchestrated an uncannily similar scenario. Once again, Jinzi received an invitation from the publishing house's editor-in-chief, bringing her to the golf course once more. Fortunately for Jinzi, this time didn't drop dead right then and there, nor did Silver meet misfortune on the way home, nor were they crushed by falling objects. The two of them strove diligently in their chosen professions and gained a love deeply treasured by their significant others. Future Memories is a Japanese film. This fantasy film was made in 1992. That was 30 years ago now. Yet the message of the story still resonates today. There are no do-overs in life. You only get one shot at life. Through this narrative, the author aims to express the repeated journeys through time by the two heroines. A powerful message. Women should never sacrifice their careers for family, nor should they neglect the precious relationships in their lives. Instead of resigning to fate, you might as well trust yourself. Whether you're admired by others or living a mundane existence, as long as it's the life you desire, then you'll have no regrets. And that's the end of today's journey through time. I'm Amber, see you in the next story.